when I was 14, everybody our age was like a latchkey kid. Everybody our age had a mom and a dad that worked, and they opened the fucking door in the morning, and you were off to the races.
Yeah.
You went to school, after school, they weren't home for hours, right? You did a bunch of shit by yourself. And most of the time, we're around other fucking savages our age. So it's the abstract influence of the parents on the children that is really like giving you your experience for who you are as a young person.
Yeah.
You're experiencing how these people taught their kids and what the result was, because you're around the kids all the time. You're not around your parents.
No, they say that you're raised by your peers. After about the age of 12, you're basically, your parents are out.
Yeah.
You're raised by your peers.
Yeah, you're constantly with your friends in school. You're constantly with your friends in any activities you have.
You're looking
sport.
for their validation instead of your parents' validation.
Exactly. And with my friends, it was always who's the sickest fuck. Oh, Mike's a sick fuck. You know, oh, Steve's the sickest fuck. He doesn't give a fuck. He's crazy. And there was like a value in that because everybody was scared. That was really at the bottom line of it. We're all young men, and we're on our way to becoming adults, and no one knows what the fuck they're going to do. And we have a few friends that have graduated high school, and they're losers now, and like, shit, that might be me. Like, that was the big cloud that was always hanging over everybody's head. What are you doing after high school? What are you doing after high school? And it was like this impending date of doom that was coming up. So everybody was scared all the time.
Yeah.
And everybody wanted to be a man. They wanted to prove themselves. They wanted to be something special, and no one felt special. You know, everybody felt like a fucking loser. You know, we're all like waiting to become an adult so you could get a job like all these other people you knew that were around you, or escape, or figure out a way to escape. My parents, my mom worked. My stepdad was a really good guy, but no one was ever around. You know, there was no, and when they were done working, everybody was tired. You know, I was a latchkey kid, you know. When I was like 7 years old, I lived in San Francisco. I would go out and do a magic show on Fisherman's Wharf by myself. Just wander around the city. They would open the door, you just leave. 7. When I was a kid, my dad was an architect, and so I worked on a lot of construction sites. And I met a lot of junkies. A lot of people on construction sites are either alcoholics or drug addicts. And there was this one guy that I really liked. He's a funny guy, man. Really funny guy, and he's in a band. His name is Robbie. Funny fucking dude. Loved hanging around with him, but just couldn't stay off the coke.
Wow.
Couldn't stay off the coke, and you could totally tell. He'd be honest about it too. Say how he went off the rails, and we would be working together. He was a carpenter, and I was like a laborer, so I was like an apprentice. And so he'd be talking to me while he's explaining to me how to do things and stuff like that. And he's like, yeah, I'm just fucking tired of this. I'm getting my shit together. The band's getting back together again. We're writing songs and this and that. And then he'd come in Monday looking like shit. Just looking like shit. Real grumpy. Didn't want to talk. Had a headache.
Yeah.
And, and he'd admit it, went off the rails.
The saddest thing is that when you first start doing drugs, and I don't know about you, but I had a phenomenal time doing cocaine. Mushrooms and all the stuff I did as a teenager was like, I never got hooked on it. And if you do it, maybe I did coke 50 times without ever getting hooked. It's a blast. That's the best kept secret. But then once you get hooked, you're not even having fun anymore. You're just maintaining. You're just feeding it so you don't crash. With heroin, you're just trying to avoid withdrawals. You're not even feeling that great anymore.
I think with Robbie, too, part of the problem was he was very disappointed in himself.
Yeah.
It was booze, too. He would just go off the rails. When I was like an amateur, I would see guys that were killing, and I'd be like, fuck him. Like, why is he doing good? Like, that guy sucks, and this guy sucks, and, how come he got this and he got that? And then I remember thinking, like, this is a gigantic waste of time. And I got into comedy because I'm a fan of comedy. And my concentrating on people that suck or being jealous about people that are doing well does me zero good. But instead, if someone does well, I can be inspired and I can get fired up by it. I mean, I figured this out in my early 20s. I was like, okay, I have a poor way of looking at it because it's a martial arts thing. Because in martial arts, like, you can't be jealous of someone else's ability. You have to realize you might have to fight them someday. So by realizing that they're really good, you're forced to be objective about it. And you have to go to work. Like, you have to go, fuck, that guy's better than me. I got to get better. And you have to go to work.
Right.
There's no There's no positive benefit in underestimating someone. Underestimating someone will get you fucking killed. And it's powerful for everybody. It's powerful for them. It's powerful for you.
Yes.
It's like there's no negative aspect to it. It's like you should be thankful that there's women out there that make you feel uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Like when I see someone just murder on stage, fuck, I want to go to work.
Yeah.
I want to go write. I want to get home and write.
Yeah.
I want to go perform. I'm like, fuck, that guy just killed. Or holy shit, she just crushed. Or she's out there killing it. And he's doing so good. It makes me want to work harder. And in that sense, as long as someone's not doing anything bad, as long as someone's not victimizing someone, what they're doing is they're showing you that it's possible to do better than you're doing.
Yeah.
And that's good. There's a lot of people out there that they have a dream, and then the pressure of trying to reach that dream, like his dream is to be in a successful band, right? And the pressure of trying to reach that dream and see it to fruition, it just seems unreachable.
Yeah.
It seems too far off. And here you are, you're in your 30s and you're working a construction job, and you know, you fucking work all day in Boston in the winter. You're tired as shit when you get home. You don't want to go to band practice.
Yeah.
You get home at 6:30, you have dinner, and now it's 7:30. You got to get up.
Right.
You got to get up in a few hours.
Right.
Like, what are you doing? When are you going to bed? You know, you got to get up at 6. Like,
Then you go to
fuck.
band practice and the drummer doesn't show up, so
Right.
you can't practice. Or
He's 45 minutes late, his car breaks down, and you're fucking pissed, and your girlfriend's screaming at you.
yeah. Yeah, oh yeah, then try to have a relationship on top of that. Tell
Yeah.
that girl you can't go out on Saturday night ever. Sometimes when I work at casino, there'll always be that band in the lounge that's playing like Born to Be Wild and
Yeah.
all those songs. And like, you'll see people that are like 57 dancing, and you see them and they're dancing, and it's like they're just reliving the only joy they had in their life, which was like when they were young, dancing to rock. And this band is fucking, they're gods to them.
Yeah, the time when you're young, when you're having fun, is so fleeting.
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden responsibilities stack up. And all of a sudden, you know, you have to pay bills. You have obligations. You have so much that you have to think about.
Yeah.
For so many people, there's this period of their life where they look back to whimsically. Like, that was the time when I was free.
Yeah.
I was young and my dick got hard all the time.
I could go 2 or 3 times.
3 times in a night. You're like,
Shit.
wild man. I can't believe it.
And you think anything is possible. I
Yeah.
mean, that's really,
Anything can happen.
that's the loss of innocence, is when you realize at a certain point that you do have to pick a path and stay on it.
Oh, yeah. You better.
Because you got to pay the bills with it. And, you know, and then what's so sad is you see people that work so fucking hard for not a lot of money. And, you know, bills just add up. And then they save just enough when they get their vacation twice a year. They'll go to like a cruise and they'll just drink nonstop for a week. And at the
Yeah.
end of it, they're just hungover. They blew the excess money they had. And that was it? That's what you worked all year for?
I had a friend of mine who worked in a restaurant, and one of the guys who worked with saved up his money for 8 years. Went to Vegas and blew it in one day.
God.
It was the most heartbreaking story.
Ugh.
This poor guy, I think he was a dishwasher, and he worked there for 8 years.
Yeah.
Like, set aside 50 here, 25. This is something I've cultivated for a long time and avoided things that make me unhappy and figured out what those things are and been very rigid about eliminating them from my life. And one of the big ones is eliminating interactions with people that are negative. That is gigantic. And because I've realized that I'm not really as independent as I used to like to think I was. I used to like to think that my thought process was independent and that I don't give a fuck what anybody thinks. That's nonsense. People say that because they absolutely care what people think and it bothers them. So they say, I don't give a fuck. But that I don't give a fuck stuff is almost entirely nonsense. You do care. And you care in both ways. You care if people are critical of you, care if people are positive of you, but you also care if people are living positive lives and they're motivating you. That's a big one. People are fuel, and other people, it's one of the reasons why I like talking to people, one of the reasons why I like to do podcasts, because I get a lot out of, you know, like just talking to you about your time in the monastery or your push to get to that 100 miles. Like, you get energy out of people like that, and you think about this energy and you think about this inspiration when you're doing other things.